said in my previous video, we want to get boots pretty early. At the very least, boots of speed, if not the upgraded version. The third item I try to build is Stark's Fervor or Malady, and after that I go with something that just increases my damage, like maybe an Infinity Edge, or something like that. And one thing that's really nice when you're playing Sivir is by the time you get into that late game, you can farm money so quickly that the expensive items are well within reach. Again, here you go, a perfect example of Jax going off on his own. We set up an ambush and easily take him down, and Yi is very close too. We may be able to kill him. He's kind of low, but I think he's going to get away. He runs too quick, and they've got their tower over there. But now we're in a great position. We've got 3 full health heroes right next to their tower. We've got lots of minions around us. The minions will pull aggro over the tower, so we are in a good position to maybe push. Now, I don't have a lot of mana, so there's not going to be a good opportunity for me to do a ton of damage to heroes, but I can certainly harass. Now, at this point, the rest of them have met up there, including Warwick. Our Pantheon just went down. But it's pretty much inevitable that in that ambush, anyone who was going to stay behind was going to get caught, probably with a stun, so that was not much you could do about it there. The rest of us are in this bushes here. Hopefully someone will go too far forward and we'll be able to ambush them. In fact, this looks like a great opportunity now. It looks like Master Yi and at least one of his buddies have gone for it, but there's 3 of us, so we should have a huge edge. Master Yi is a little bit lower level than us as well. He's going to get taken down really fast, and they've got a Warwick there, and I think the Warwick goes down. I blink away because I was a little nervous that I might have been too low, but clearly I had plenty of health left, so I kind of wasted that flash. And a third person in. You can see what's happened here is they've all gone in one person at a time, and it's just ruined them. Again, the key, especially mid-game, early on in the game, everyone stays in their lane, you farm the gold, and that's all there is to it. But by the time that you hit the mid-game, people are grouping up, and anyone who's still on their own is in big trouble unless they're super careful. You need to be aware of where the enemy is at all time. If you don't know where they are, you kind of have to assume that there's going to be an ambush. You can see here I'm checking to see if the dragon is up, and he's not. He does show up as a skull still on the map, and the reason for that is the other team killed him. When the other team kills a creep camp, the skull stays on the map. It doesn't show you if the creep is up or down, so you've got to check it every now and again to see the status of it. Now, I should talk about these neutral mobs. I think maybe I did a little bit in the last video. I'm not positive. But the dragon here is really great. If you can kill him, it gives everyone on your team experience points and gold, just as if you'd kill the tower. So clearly, killing the dragon is something you want to do as often as possible. Depending on what character you're playing, you can start soloing the dragon maybe about level 8, certainly level 10, especially if you've got lifesteal. Ooh, this is a bad fight for us. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Some people on the other team got low pretty quickly, and I think we decided to commit to a full-on assault. At least I did, especially with my splash damage. Once a variety of heroes get low, I'm in a really good position to finish a big group off, but apparently we didn't have quite enough of a clump. Looks like Ryze used his ultimate and really just AoE'd the crap out of us. So I'm dead. Most of my team is dead. I think only Shaco is alive, and he's going to try for a kill here on Jackson. I think he's going to do it, yep, and then he runs away and hides again. I'm going to res up right away. I've got my Stark's Fervor now, and I also picked up a Phage. Phage is another item I really like getting because what it does is it increases my damage a little bit, but also gives me a 25% chance on hit to slow people. And I've got a pretty good attack speed, so that's going to happen a fair amount of the time. One thing to note, oh, and here's Pantheon trying to come in with his ultimate. He just clips Yi, which is enough to slow him slightly, but not enough to really hurt him. Whoa, just lost a couple of more heroes somewhere. But we've got a threesome going down to the south where there's a hero. So we're going to try to ambush him. And as we walk by here, nope, the dragon is still not up, but it's got to be soon. Here's Corky all alone while we 2-on-1 him. Again, the same mistakes you see time and time again. People venturing out on their own and pushing too far ahead. We're going to backtrack here, I think, just to clear out the creep wave for some easy gold and to protect our tower. Oh, I let my allies do it. You don't really need a bunch of heroes to clear out a creep wave, especially at a higher level. Almost everyone can solo them. But here I'm going to take out some neutral creeps. Again, this is something you want to do as often as possible. These golems don't give a buff, but what they do is they give you some extra experience points and extra gold, so you may as well farm them whenever they're there. Now, this red lizard here has the red buff, which is very, very powerful. If you kill him, you get to hold on to this buff for the next minute or so, and anyone you hit gets slowed and gets a dot applied to them. It's very powerful and very good for killing things. Big fight going on in the middle. Ooh, we lost our Master Yi again, but they're going to lose their Jax, maybe? He might get away. No, there's the stun, the kill, And we may even be able to get Rise. He's been slowed down. Udyr's doing very well there. He procs a stun every now and again, and it's really good at killing heroes. We're going to be able to push this tower. So yeah, farming the neutral creeps is something that a lot of new players don't do very much, and it's a really, really effective thing. Because you get a lot of extra gold, a lot of extra experience points, and you should do it as often as possible. Some heroes are capable of doing it from level 1, but especially when you're starting out, and if you're just starting out and you're low, your summoner is low level, you won't have a lot of runes, you won't have a lot of mastery abilities, and so it's going to be tough to get just enough damage to really finish those off. Their Warwick comes in here to try to save the tower, and it's not going to happen. We're going to take that down. We're going to take down this inhibitor, and that's probably going to be game. One inhibitor down is recoverable, but given the extent that we're owning just the heroes time and time again, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the end of it. You can see here I'm getting Rise, taking a little bit of risk to grab that tower aggro, but there we go. We killed another one off. Almost an ace. I think they've got one up. Yep, we may be able to kill him here, though. He's all alone. We're kind of low. We're kind of low on mana and low on health, but I think we may be able to finish him. Yes, here he goes. And that will be the ace. Ace means you've killed everyone on the other enemy team. They're all dead. And that's really bad because it means your team's got free reign to maybe take down some more towers. Of course, Warwick died fairly early on in that combat, so he's already back to life, but he's going to get killed again. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Yep, there he goes. And this game is certainly over at this point, I think. Unless we made a big mistake and we got aced in return, which has definitely happened. In fact, I've seen plenty of situations where one team has 2 inhibitors down, and they manage to ace their enemies, and in that time, when all their opponents are dead, they can push back in, do just a focused push right down the middle, take out the inhibitors, get to the middle, kill the Nexus, and just win the game. So you don't want to be too overconfident even when you're in the enemy base, but at this point, I'm pretty sure it's done. Oh wait, so yeah, there's I know I didn't really give a voiceover commentary of the game as it was played too much. I was trying to give a lot of other tutorial information while it went, but I hope that the action kept you entertained, and I hope that I gave you a little bit of advice on how to play Sivir. My specific build with her, like you know my items now, in terms of build, I mostly max out Boomerang as early as possible. What's nice about Boomerang is that once you hit level 5, Boomerang, it's doing a lot. Well, actually, at any level, Boomerang does pretty decent damage, and it's not dependent on items, so it gives you that sort of burst damage early on, which really pays off nicely. Later on, because I don't go an AP build, and I don't think AP is a very good idea with Sivir, that's to say ability power, so my Boomerang doesn't scale up, and it starts to pale in comparison to just my regular attacks, and in which case Ricochet starts to become more and more important. But I do max out Boomerang first. It really works out really nicely. The other thing I got really early in this game is my Spell Shield, and I always try to get it at some point, but since I was in the middle with Rise, I think I got it as my second ability, and what's really nice with Spell Shield is it blocks the next spell that is coming your way, and in fact gives you some mana back. So what would happen with Rise is I would sort of bait him to cast spells at me, and I would time it to try to get my Spell Shield up just as he would cast a spell. So he would waste his mana, do no damage, and in fact regenerate some of my mana so that I could Spell Shield again right after. And that was one of the reasons I dominated so well. Now, I don't usually get my Spell Shield at level 2, but it was a good time to do it. So always be aware of what your opponents are and what that means. Maybe that means a Spell Shield. Hey, if your opponents are the right combination, sometimes that means getting a Banshee's Veil on Sivir, even though she's already got the built-in shield ability, just because sometimes having a double shield like that really pays off. So you just have to pay attention and be aware of that. Let's... Surprised this isn't quite over by now, but we're going to do another kill here. I think our Pantheon may die. Yep, that's unfortunate. But he certainly did his job in keeping those enemies around and doing a lot of damage to them so we could come and kill. Just looking at the items I bought. Oh, I actually didn't end up buying a Infinity Edge this time, and went for an Aegis, which, I don't know, sometimes is a good idea, sometimes it's a bad idea. It's certainly nice to have one person on your team who's got an Aegis, and again, that combination of Aegis and Stark's Fervor really puts those team fights in your advantage. And one of the reasons I think it worked out really well on this team is because I had a lot of damage dealers. I have a Master Yi, I have a Pantheon, Udyr does a lot of damage as well. Who else would I have on here? Shaco, big damage dealers. I had a team full of people who could put out a lot of damage, so it wasn't quite as important for me personally to put out a lot of damage, and so I went for the team buff instead. Now, if it was a different matchup, if we had 2 tanks and a support, and here, the game's over. then I would have gone more damage, maybe an Infinity Edge. Anyway, that's it for now, and hopefully